Good evening. Test. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for giving us your time this evening to join us here today. Okay, I think we are from Orange Tea. Thank you so much for our agents to invite for you to actually to come and join us. Test. Oh, sorry. Test. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So not delaying much time. I think today we have 3 speakers. Okay, the very first one, Miss Christine Sun. Okay, Christine is a very seasoned expert with over 2 decades. I got to read from the script because her biology is long. Okay, but give me some time. All right, she's a seasoned expert with over 2 decades of experience in real estate, research and consultancy as well as property development and marketing. Okay, her impressive journey includes significant roles in top developers and agencies, spanning residential, commercial, hospitality, and industrial sectors. She has managed property sales totaling up to almost over $1 billion. Okay, she has a master's in research and management science from NUS, and she has earned under a prestigious scholarship program and is placed on the NUS Dean's List as well. Okay, not to delay too much, let's put our hands together and welcome Miss Christine Sun.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for coming down and braving the rain, and I hope that you all had a good dinner. Hi, I'm Christine. I'm the head of research in Orange Tea, and special thank you for all of you, especially our invited guests, as well as our Orange Tea associates and our colleagues and staff and agents who come down as well. Okay, so today I'll be sharing on the residential market outlook for 2024. What I'll be touching on is a forecast for most of the market segments, including the new home sales, resale, maybe rental, as well as HDB resale market. Sorry. Hello. Okay. Oh, so it's okay. They will control the slides. Okay, so to begin with, maybe some of you may not be familiar with Orange Tea Research. We are one of the key research houses among the property agencies, where we produce regular reports. You also read a lot of our commentaries and media comments in the newspaper, and we also do data analytics. I think this is not working. Oh, okay. Okay, and our analysis have been covered in most local news media platforms and globally, including the US, Canada, Europe, Australia, China, and other Asian countries. Next. So for this today's sharing, we have written about three to four reports, and as well as a few commentaries in the mainstream media, and they have been published in the Straits Times, Business Times, Today papers. Next. We have also been interviewed on CNA on our projections, 联合早报, HProp. Next. As well as just on Monday, I did a presentation at the Redas conference, attended by about 400 over people. Okay, so right now, to begin with, I always like to talk about the global economy outlook, because if we talk about Singapore, how open we are, to maybe the external factors, then what happens to the global economy will have some impact on Singapore's, that means our property market. So if you look at this, this is from IMF, and what is their projection for the world economy. So this will have some bearing on Singapore's economy as well as our property market. So this is one chart that is from IMF, where they had maybe the projections is still quite positive. Before I go on to talk about the numbers, recently actually we had a conversation with some representatives from IMF. They visited our office and they wanted to hear our projections for Singapore's economy as well as the property market. And the good news is that, when I asked one of the chiefs in IMF, he said that, because I was asking him, there has been a lot of talk, even in some of this Wall Street Journal and some of these quite renowned papers that have been written all over the world, and they actually project that there will be a global economic recession this year. So will there be a crisis? So when I asked him, actually for IMF, after they collate all the feedback from all the countries, and he said that they actually do not believe that there will be a recession, global recession this year. And in fact, he says that some of the countries around the world, they are actually performing better than expected. So for example, if you look at here, this global economy, what is their projected GDP growth for the world economy, is actually still quite stable at 2.9. Of course, it will be lower than 2002, mainly because we came down from a low of the pandemic. But generally, if you compare with last year, it's expected to hold steady. And perhaps the slight drop is because of the advanced economies, like for example in the US, they are expecting that perhaps if they are not able to handle the, maybe right now the interest rate hike well, then there could be some slowdown in US. But even then, they are expecting that the US economy to be still positive. And some of the emerging markets and developing economies, they are expecting quite a stable growth this year. Next. So this is again one of the charts that shows you where will we be expecting the most growth around the world. Of course, it will be India, and even today for China, they have I think closed off 2023 at about 5-something% GDP growth, and they are expecting a stable growth for this year as well, and of course US, Japan, and so on. So you can see that generally, although the growth is either stable or slightly lower this year, but it's still positive. And in terms of the inflation forecast, it's also forecast to be stable for the next few years. So this gives us a very good gauge that if they are able to keep inflation at this rate, that means this is the forecast rate, then likely interest rates will also start to stabilize. Next. And what about Singapore? Analysts are actually quite upbeat about Singapore's economy. In fact, they are projecting 1 to 3% growth, which is faster than what we have seen in 2023. So if you look at this chart here, they are projecting this higher growth for this year. So if there is positive growth for Singapore, so it also means that in terms of employment, income growth, everything will be better than last year. So this will have some uplift for the property market. Next. So this is a chart that shows you, after we understand GDP, so how does it impact our property market? And if you look at this chart here, this orange line shows you the overall property price index or URA index. That means this is a line that measures the price, how prices will move for properties in Singapore. Okay, this is for private properties. So if you look at this line here, and this green bar here shows you the GDP growth for Singapore. So as long as GDP is positive, you'll see that property prices usually either rise or you'll hold steady. So for after coming down from the high after the pandemic, right now I think we are stabilizing at a certain rate, and right now I think it's going to go up slightly to about 1 to 3%. So this means that prices are likely to hold stable for this year. Next. And in terms of what about sales volume? This is the projected sales volume. What do we expect of this year? Again, if you look at the chart here, as long as there's positive GDP, you'll see that usually there'll be positive sales volume as well. So when GDP drops, then that's when your sales volume will come down. So for here, what we are expecting is that since GDP is going to go up slightly, then perhaps sales volume may stabilize this year. Next. So after talking about GDP growth, right now we'll look at what about the other economic indicators. And one very important indicator to look at will be interest rates. So if you look at this, here this headline news has just been released in January, where it talks about everybody is expecting the US Federal Reserve to cut their rates. So it's when they're going to cut the rates. So I think most people are expecting rates will hold longer, higher for longer. But right now for 2024, the narration has sort of shifted, where they're expecting that possibly they may stabilize maybe in the first half of this year, and after that it may start to decline in the second half. So with that, it means that when interest rate fall or stabilize, it means that it will be good news for buyers because your borrowing costs will also be lower or stabilize. So what is the kind of rate that we are looking at? In Singapore, we look at 3-month SORA. So 3-month SORA, usually they use this benchmark, that means this what do you call that, the interest rate level, and you add a spread. The spread is about maybe 0.5, can range from 0.5 to 1%. So what does this mean? It means that, let's say for example here, if SORA is at 3.1%, then you add a spread of let's say 0.7, that means your interest rate will be 3.8% for floating rate. So what we are expecting is that, go back up. Here, we are expecting that right now, we are at about 3.7 something, maybe 3.75% or so. And by end of 2024, it's likely to fall to 3.1%. Next. So if that's the case, then how would it affect your borrowing cost? It means that, let's say for example, if you give, maybe we give an example, estimated for first quarter of this year, SORA at 3.75%, plus a spread of 0.7%, means that the floating rate is about 4.4%. If let's say, if based on our projections down here, let's say for example, just now we projected that by the end of the year, it will go to 3.1%. So it means that your floating rate will be about 3.8%. So if you are talking about a property of about, let's say 2.5 million, right now most properties, new condos are about 2.5 million, and you take a loan of about 1.8 mil, that means that every month your mortgage payment will drop by about $600 per month based on this projected decline in terms of interest rate. So with this, it means that with improved borrowing costs, it will actually help the entire market, not just the new home sales, but as well as that means current borrowers, because they will be refinancing their interest rates and so on. Okay, so it will also help new home sales and especially the luxury sales most because of the price quantum. So that means when interest rate drop, it also means that their loan quantum will drop even more. Next. So after I go through the economic forecast and what we project for Singapore and what we expect of interest rate, so we can see that in general, in terms of the global economy, it seems to be quite stable, still positive this year for Singapore as well. And of course, interest rates, everybody is expecting it to fall slightly. It's not going to go down to the low of 1% that we've seen. I think it's still quite a long journey down. But at least I think it's quite positive news for most of the buyers, including like HDB homeowners. So right now I will go on to an overview of what is our forecast for the whole private residential market. To understand where prices and volume or demand is going to move, I think most importantly is that we need to know where the market is right now. So this is a chart that we have produced where it shows you the transaction volume. That means the number of private homes, including condominiums, landed properties and ECs, what are the transaction volume for every quarter. So let's say for example, if you look at this bar, the blue bar here shows you the number of resale homes that has been sold for that quarter, and the orange bar here shows you the new homes that have been sold. So you can see from the last 3 years, there has been a very clear decline in terms of resale total transactions, and it's across the, both new homes as well as resale homes. And what is the reason? I think there are various reasons, because of cooling measures, high interest rates, not enough supply, because there has not been as many launches as in the past. So we can see that it's slowly declining. And in terms of prices, yes, I think although there have been so many challenges in the market, you can see that property prices in Singapore still hold relatively stable. Let's say for example from here, 2021 to 2023, over the last 3 years, resale prices is holding quite steady. And in fact, if you look at new home prices, it has been rising over the last 3 years. Next. So what do we expect of this year? I think one of the key things to look at this year will be we are expecting many more new home launches. So if you look at this chart here, it shows you what are the new project launches. Still cannot. Okay. No. Please go back to the previous slide. Still cannot. Okay, if you look at the number of launches, this year we are expecting about 8,800 new homes to be launched. And this is more than the 7,500 units that have been launched last year. and the previous year at about 4,005. So you can see that there's an uptrend. So usually when there are more launches, it means that there'll be more home sales. That means there will also be more market activities in the property market in Singapore. However, if you look at this number here, it's still much lower than what we've seen before the pandemic, and as well as about 10 to 15 years ago. So in terms of volume, it's still very low. So this shows us that, you know, if you are one of them who buy a new home right now, it's actually quite rare. That means there's actually limited supply in the market. Next. And where are the launches going to be? This year, the spotlight will be back on the suburban market. If you look at here, just now based on the 8,800 units, we count it as by proportion. And you see that the highest proportion of new homes that are going to be launched will be in the suburban market. And this is followed by the city fringe and the luxury home. So for suburban market, when there are more launches, it also means that there will be more sales, because we know that homes in the suburban market is usually more affordable. So when there are more launches, that will also mean that new home sales is going to rise this year. And in terms of city fringe, there will be fewer new units that will be launched, but this year we are expecting more home launches in the luxury segment. Next. So with this, we'll go on to the new home sales forecast. And this is pictures speaks 1,000 words, even with all the cooling measures, high interest rates. And you see that at the recent launch, all right, this is just 2 months ago at Jayden. Jayden is here, right? Jayden. And you see, look at this. Like, it seems like nothing can stop Singaporeans from buying. You know, once there's a good product in the market, you see that, wow, the show floor is packed. And this year, there will be a number of key launches, especially like, for example, for this EC. This will be the only EC that will be launched this sales performance as well. Next. So what are we expecting for new home sales? New home sales, like I mentioned just now, because there are so few launches over the last 2 years, that's the reason why you see that the sales volume is much lower than even when you compare to 10 years ago for last year. But this year, we are expecting sales to jump a bit, mainly because of the increased number of launches. In terms of prices, all right, this is actually quite scary, because if you look at the private home prices, 10 years ago, at about 1,002, you can still buy a new condominium. But 10 years later, it has gone to way past $2,000 per square foot. And for city fringe home, in the past, you can buy maybe at about a median price of about 1,006. Now it has gone to almost 2,005. And for luxury homes, it has gone, well, quite steady. Right now, it has hit about $3,000 per square foot. Next. So how will prices be moving this year? Are we going to expect, you know, prices to continue to escalate, or it will stabilize? So one very good way to look at it is that, why don't we look at what are the best-selling projects or new condominiums last year, because this will give us a gauge on what is the kind of price threshold among buyers. So if you look at the best-selling new condominiums for 2023, let's say, for example, if you look at rest of central region or city fringe area, these are some of the best-selling, like for example, the Reserve Residences, Grand Diamond, Tembusu Grand, and the Continuum one. You'll notice that their median prices are about 2004 to about 2007. And for OCR, that means in the mass market or suburban area, the best-selling projects are like Lentor Hill Residences, Jayden, which is the project that I've shown you just now, and Botany. And you see that the median price in the suburban area is about 2001 all the way to about 2004. So this shows us that based on what has been sold last year, the price acceptance in the market for, let's say, a city fringe home will be about 2004 to about 2007. And for outside of central region or the suburban projects will be about 2001 to about 2004. Next. So for this year, to understand how will prices move, then we need to know what are the new launches for this year. So based on our calculation, we project that there will be about 31 new projects to be launched this year, which will yield about 12,000 units. But of course, not every developer will launch all their projects at the same time. Some will also delay, some will launch in, maybe they stagger their launches. So conservatively, out of these 31 projects, we expect at least 23 projects yielding about 8,800 units, which I've mentioned just now. And based on this 8,800 units, half of them will be in the outside of central region, which is the mass market region, 30% in the city fringe, and another 20% in the luxury segment. Next. And we do a price projection based on how much they have paid for the land price. So based on the land price here, let's say for example, these are the outside of central region, that means mass market region projects, you'll see that generally it's still staying about 2001 to about 2004 when they launch. That means when this is the expected launch price, that means what price they will sell the projects. Let's say for example like Tampines Avenue 11, GLS, Lentor Mansion, former Trump Park and Clementi Avenue. So we roughly know that this year perhaps it's about 2001 to about 2004. And for the city fringe area, these will be some of the key launches to look out for, like Jalan Tembusu, Pine Grove, Lorong 1 Toa Payoh, Marina Gardens Residences, and former Mayor Park. And you see that the price range will be about 2003 to about 3000. And if you look at this whole chart here, these will be key launches to watch this year. The lowest price below 2000 is only the EC. So right now, even at the current price range, ECs, the new EC or the only EC to be launched here at Lumina Grand is still the cheapest new private home in the whole market. Next. So based on the projection just now, since we have already looked at the land price, we have looked at what is being accepted by buyers, and if you look at in general, what we expect is that this year the prices may just go up slightly by about 2 to 4%, which is up from 1 to 3% last year. And in terms of sales volume, we are expecting a slightly higher sales volume because there will be more launches. But definitely, if you look at the price range, is much lower than what we've seen in 2021 at 13% and 2022 at 12.5%. Next. So now we'll go into the resale market. Okay, resale forecast. This is a very new chart that we're shown here. In fact, we have not even published it in the reports or even shared with the media. What we have done is that maybe what I can give a preview is that last year, many people were expecting that there'll be a lot of resale transactions and so on because there are so many new condominium completions, right? So they are expecting rental market to be very good and things like that. But what we have seen is that there is a whole change in terms of market dynamics. Why? Because, for example, here, the orange line here shows you what are the number of condominiums that have hit TOP or being completed every year. And the blue line here shows you the resale transactions. That means what have been sold. And these are rental transactions. And you see that in the past, when there were fewer completions or condos hitting TOP, the number of transactions logically will also fall, right? That means it drops, and rental is quite steady. However, this time, you look at here, although the number of completions have gone up, we have not seen resale transactions going up. In terms of, and because it's coming down, resale prices are likely to hold steady. Let's say, for example, 3 to 5%, and this will be about the same as last year at 4 to 6%. Why is it that we are not expecting prices to surge up? Mainly because there are still many challenges in the market right now, like interest rate hikes, maybe the TDSR, borrowing costs, So that's the thing, and also because there will be more new launches this year as well. But of course, if let's say you are one of the condominium owners, like for example, even my relative, they are asking, do you think we should sell our properties right now since prices are going to go up? But if you understand the market dynamics right now, you'll see that actually the supply is going to continue to drop. So this means that in terms of prices, it's going to hold at least quite firm for a while more, unless there is a global financial crisis. Next. And right now, I'll go into ECs because you are here at ECs. I also did an extra forecast for ECs. Next. So what about the forecast of ECs? All right, this one I have to say that this is a fortunate bunch of people. If you are eligible to buy an EC, right? Actually, buying an EC based on our profit analysis, 99.9% of EC buyers make profit. I mean, if you are into investment, you know, right? What are the odds of having almost 100% profitability in an investment? Even when you buy shares, right? Like for example, like for myself, I also bought some blue chips. Doesn't mean that buy blue chips you also make money, you know. But this one is like, wow, better than blue chips. This is like you buy EC, 99.9% make money. It's either you make more or make less. Later I'll show you. So why is it that, you know, right now I think that some people are saying they have some concerns because EC prices is true that is right now at record price. But of course, if you look at the whole market, ECs are not the only one that is record price. Right? If you look at HDB resale, you look at condominiums, resale market, everywhere is record price. So, but if you talk about record price, how record it is? Well, the good news about people who are buying ECs, at least when you buy, you know that the increase in price is not as much as the other property types. For example, if you look at the increase in terms of prices from 10 years ago, let's say for example 2013 to 2023, for let's say for example, this is new landed properties, the price has increased by 112%. And if you look at condominiums, new condos, it has increased by almost 50%. But for ECs, the increase is only 30%. So it means that, you know, there is still a certain affordability for people who are still eligible to buy ECs. Next. And if you look at this one, right now when we look at this across the board, in terms of prices, let's say for example right now, if you want to buy a new condominium that is still below 1.5 million, right? Honestly, you can't buy a condo. You can't buy a new condo. There's no, even if you buy the smallest condo, right? You cannot buy one that is below 1.5. But you can still buy relatively good units when you know that means below 2 mil and also below 1.5 mil. Next. So this is by proportion. But if you look at by in terms of numbers, you see that here at least last year. This is for I think it was last year. Yeah, only for last year. At least that means about 450 units or ECs, new ECs are still sold below 1.5 million. And the rest of them, like for example, if you are going into, let's say, landed property, landed property is not here. Sorry. Okay, next. Okay, so in terms of, just now I mentioned about the profitability, right? So we actually did a profit analysis. And how do we do profit analysis? That means based on the caveats that has been lodged, we look at what is the price that the buyer buys for that particular unit, and then we match it to the selling price. And based on that, when you minus off, you can find out what is the profit for that particular unit. And we actually churn out a number of caveats, about 5,000 over matched caveats out of, I think, if I'm not wrong, it's about 21,000 transactions, EC transactions. And we found that based on the matched caveats, most ECs were resold for a profit of 200,000 to about 500,000 with a holding period of less than 10 years. Can you imagine? And look at this. These are the profits that people have made. Let's say, for example, this one. If you're talking about making a profit about 200 to less than $300,000, there are about 1,400 units. And these are the units that have been sold less than 10 years, and some are older condominiums, ECs, sold for, that means they hold it for at least 10 years. And if you look at here, what is the maximum? Can you imagine you buy an EC and you make a profit of $1 million? This is so insane, right? Like, this is profit, you know. Profit of $1 million buying an EC. And you look at this, a good number of people have made more than $500,000 just buying and selling an EC. Next. Anyway, when we did this analysis, it was covered in Business Times, Zhao Bao, and many of the other mainstream media as well. Next. And this one gives you a very good gauge on what about unit size. So right now, okay, we know that it's profitable, so which unit should I buy? And based on our analysis, if you have the money, of course, the bigger the unit you buy, the more money you make. And this is the maximum profit that has ever been made in Singapore for an EC, which is 1.37 million. Can you imagine 1.37 million? You can buy how many HDB flats? And this is the median. Let's say, for example, if you buy a very big unit, about 1,600 square feet, the median profit is about $500,000, but the highest you can go is about 1.3. And of course, generally, most people will buy around this range at about 800 square feet to about maybe 1,200 square feet, and the median profit is about 300 over 1,000. So that's the kind of profit that we make maybe for a normal condominium as well. And the highest profit can go up to 900,000. Okay, next. So these are some of the transactions. If you look at here, so all these are not fake. These are all URA numbers. They are large caveats. So if you look at this, the highest, that means profits that have been ever made, 1.3 or almost 1.4 million, is a unit at City Life at Tampines. And this unit has been bought 2013, sold at 2021, bought at 1.9 million, sold for 3.3 million. And because why? It's a 3,800 square feet. So if I'm not wrong, I think these kind of units are no longer available in the market, mainly because we did this project. And then after that, I think URA came in and said cannot build so big. Because I think some of these people. So okay, if you look at the next highest, the Quintet, bought in 2007, sold 2013, holding period of about 6 years, and they make a profit of 1 million. So these are all the transactions for, that means highest profits for new ECs held for less than 10 years. Again, I just give you one more example. Tampines Trillion at Tampines Central, bought in 2012, sold 2022, so about almost 10 years. Bought 1.3 million, sold 2.3 million, made a profit of 972,000. Okay. No more battery. Okay, I thought no more. Okay. So if you look at here, most of the units that I think, thank you. Okay. So most of the units here, the ones that you can, that means near here will be places like, I think will be Choa Chu Kang area. Next. Okay. So here, what are we expecting of, if you are buying EC right now, then you'll also be interested to know, right, whether will there be a lot of competition. And the good news is that if you look at this supply, ECs are very rare in the market right now. Because like, for example, like this year, there's only one launch. And usually, if you look at the number of units launched, the orange bar here, it has been dropping from a high of 5,000 over units to this year, only 500 over units. So this is almost like your, we all know assets are like that, like diamonds, right? Or even like, some other rare watches. As long as supply is very little, usually prices will hold. So ECs, it's like the supply is almost like the GCBs like that, very limited in supply. And that will help to prop up prices for ECs. Okay, next. Okay, enough of ECs. Right now we talk about rental. Next. Okay, so rental market, where are we now? I think from the second half of last year, we already see that the whole rental market has slowed down. And if you look at these transactions, these are by quarter. So this one is Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4. So this is the total rental transactions per year. And you do see that now, because Q4 data is not out yet, but we already see a very clear trend that the rental market has slowed down because the number of transactions has already come down. But in terms of rents, we see that, there's a big crazy surge down here, mainly because just now you also saw, right, in terms of completions, they only came in only last year. So because of the lack of stock in the market, that's the reason why there was a big surge in terms of rents in 2021 and 2022. And of course, after the pandemic, many foreigners started coming back to Singapore, foreign students coming in. So there's increased demand as well as a lot of locals, right? Because of their BTO has been delayed, so many people were renting. So right now, where are we now? In the third quarter of 2023, rents, I guess, has already almost peaked. And some areas are still at record prices, but if you look at SRX data based on today's numbers in December, private market rental has really started to come down. So in fact, it has come down for the last 4 to 5 months. And so, for many of the landlords, if you are a landlord there, I think the market may continue to be a bit, that means rents may not be able to go up further this year. Next. So what we are projecting is that because there will be less completions, so likely the number of transactions will also come down. And in terms of rents, it's likely to stabilize because there's just so much, right, that people can pay for the rental. You don't expect like, the rents to continue to go up because there's affordability issue as well as, GST has gone up, inflation and so on. So because of that, in terms of projection, we are projecting that rents will likely hold steady or have a modest growth of about 2 to 5%, but it's a way less than what we've seen. 2023, 12 to 14%, and of course 2022, there was almost a 30% surge in 1 year. Next. And right now I go to HDB forecast. What is our forecast? Before I go for a forecast, maybe these are some of the key trends that I want to highlight. So these are some of our recent studies that we've done that we have partnered with Straits Times to come up with some of these numbers and it's been covered in the news. So one of the key trends is that if you look at HDB resale prices, it's quite surprising that the overall resale flat price has actually increased even faster than resale condos. So if you look at here, for the past 5 years, 2018 to 2023, resale prices have gone up by about 35%. But if you compare it with resale condos have gone up only by 29%. But of course, it's still slower than new condominiums. Like just now, we've seen how prices have surged, right, by 54%. But even then, you can see that, that this could be a reason why, when you go to show flats, right, just now I showed you the Jayden, there are still so many people. Because you look at how prices have gone up for HDB resale flats. So there's actually a lot of HDB resale owners who have made quite a bit of money. Next. And how much more? We know that last year, there's a record number of $1 million transactions. In the past, we have seen maybe like per year, less than 100 units. But right now, last year alone, 400 over units. And that's more than the previous record, which was 300 over units. So out of, let's say, for example, the total $1 million transactions over the last 10 years, not only are there more $1 million flats, if you look at this trend, it actually shows you that the $1 million flats are actually getting pricier. So in the past, if you look at this pink bar, it shows you the $1 million flat transactions are usually about 1 to 1.1 mil, or 1.1 to about 1.2 mil. But in recent years, you have seen more transactions, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and now the highest price HDB is a $1.5 million. So I remember that time when they talk about the launch of the PLH model flats. I remember I had a conversation with some people from HDB, and they were asking, how much do you think PLH model flats will be sold next time? I said, I think easily 2 million. Then they almost fall off the chair. And at that time when we had that conversation, the priciest unit is only at this level. But you look at here, the conversation, the PLH model flats didn't happen very long ago, right? It was only about 1 year ago. And you see 1 year later, it has jumped from here to here. So I won't be surprised in future, if it continues that way, then don't quote me. I said HDB price will go to 2 million. But well, if you talk about inflation, the PLH model flats will be 15 years later. You look at how the price trajectory is moving. 15 years later, I don't think prices will be stagnant for 15 years. So far, it has not happened in the history of Singapore. Next. And this is another new study that we found that perhaps instead of looking at the price quantum for HDB flats, maybe we should look at by per square foot basis. Why? Because if you look at by per square foot basis, it's also quite shocking that right now, in the past, when you look at buying condominiums, we are talking about $1,000 per square foot. But now, HDB flats, people are paying $1,000 per square foot and above. And this is increasing number. And right now, in fact, the highest price HDB resale is actually transacted at $1,400 per square foot. I don't know whether the HDB buyer, does he know that he's paying $1,400 per square foot? And this is the kind of price right now that we're looking at for an EC or even a resale condo. Next. And because of the increased affluence or how much people are able to sell their flats, we also see that there are more and more HDB upgraders buying pricier condos. So not only are they buying condominiums, they are buying more $2 million and above condominiums. And this is something that we've seen. Again, this was published in Business Times, where we found that there is a big surge in terms of those HDB upgraders buying condominiums above $2 million. So in the past, maybe only 3% of the HDB upgraders will buy a condominium at that price. But now, that means 20% of all the HDB upgraders, what they bought, the condominiums, they're actually more than $2 million. So already you see that actually HDB upgraders, many people are actually, they can afford pricier condominiums. Next. So what is our projection for the HDB market? Just now we mentioned the number of, not only TOP is at a record high, but if you talk about in terms of the MOP numbers in HDB, it was also at a record high in 2022. But this number has already dropped last year by almost half, and it will continue to fall for the next 2 years. Next. So with that, because the number of MOP units have dropped, that's the reason why you already see that there's a gradual decline in terms of the HDB resale transactions. And in terms of prices, it's still holding firm. Let's say, for example, 2024, we're expecting prices to continue to grow modestly by 3 to 5%. And right now, 2023 is about 4 to 5.5. Actually, it's about 4.8%, but it's still less than what we've seen over the last 2 years. Why is it that we are not expecting prices to surge up? Because there'll be fewer MOP units. And that's the reason why. One of the reasons is because the government is also pushing out a lot of BTO flats, right? You see that they keep talking about 100,000, how many BTO flats and things like that. So in that sense, some of the people, they are actually turning back to the BTO market. Next. So this is my last section to talk about, after looking at all these market numbers, so where are the new growth areas in Singapore? Next. If you look at the newspaper, they have been talking about almost every week, because we are involved in this, because we give our projections, we give our commentaries on each of the plots. And you see that if you compare across the island, I think the new growth area, maybe for the next decade or so, the highest, that means the most activities will come from the east side. Why? Because from the east side, we already know that they're going to convert this Paya Lebar Air Base to about 150,000 units. We don't know how many HDB and private homes, but there will be one big plot. Long Island is also another big project, 30,000 to 60,000 units. Bayshore is also another area where now they are building the, I think I'm not sure if they have completed the MRT station, but they are going to add more HDB flats as well. Chai Chee, Jalan Loyang, and Simei. And altogether, we are expecting, let's say, for example, we don't know what's the combination, but the highest number of, let's say, if they build everything HDB, they can build up to 200,000 units. Or if they build everything into condominiums, it will be also another 200 units. So it's likely to be a hybrid now. And in the central area, you can see that there's also a lot of activities here. Like, for example, they're going to convert Margaret Drive, Toa Payoh, right? They are converting, like, for example, the police station, old schools, Kampong Bugis. Tanjong Rhu will be a very big plot there, where this whole area, if you go there, that's where they have the show flats, I think the Singapore Swimming Club or something. Oh, that is a big plot of land. So either they're going to build PLH model flats, or they will be building perhaps the more condominiums. And then here, Jalan Tenteram as well. Okay. And next one, in the west, fewer, but they're going to extend further, Tengah Garden, and then Teban Garden, Woodlands, and Media Circle, because they're going to build some service apartments there as well. In the north, there'll be Turf Club. This is again a big one. It's 20 to 40,000 either HDB or private units, and Canberra. So that will have some impact on the Bukit Timah prices. So that will be another separate talk. Okay, so in total, if you add up everything, right, roughly we can look at maybe about addition of at least 300 to 400,000 new homes to be coming up maybe in the next decade or so. So what is the number? What does it mean? In Singapore, there are about 1.something million HDB flats and about 300,000 private homes. So that means the government is going to add an additional supply of about 30 to 40% more units in the market. But how long they're going to take, we are not sure. But roughly these are, and even as we are compiling these, the plots are still adding in. Okay, next. So where are the places to look at this year? I think we are expecting more announcement on the Greater Southern Waterfront because they have been talking about this for a while already. There will be 9,000 new homes to be built at the Keppel Club site. Next. And these are some other areas, like for example, that's where you are now, Jurong Lake District. This will be again a very hot area. They're going to increase, apart from this Jayden and this EC here, they'll be selling more plots of land. So Jurong Lake District, we know that they are determined to make this the second CBD, and already you see hospitals, very comprehensive retail malls. In fact, this is also a lot of, I think, if I'm not wrong, government sector, a lot of offices are built here. So they will continue to build here. And then there's the, is it the Jurong Bird Park? I can't remember. And then the other one, extending Tengah. So here, now the people are shifting in here. All right? Every now and then you hear of a lot of news about people going in and say not enough bus stops, the roads not developed, blah, blah, blah. But here, now they're going to build this part here. Open another half of the area. So there's going to be, whoa, a lot of people here. And next, this plot that I was talking about, Tanjong Rhu. This is a place to look at if you are looking at buying a city fringe home. I think this time round, they possibly will add some HDB flats here. And of course, some others, like for example, another 6 areas, Woodlands, Jalan Tenteram, and Kallang Airport Drive. Okay, next. So to summarize, this year what we are expecting is that I think there will continue to be headwinds. We are not saying that there will be no challenges. Like for example, there will still be risk of recession, cooling measures are here, inflationary pressures and geopolitical uncertainties. But of course, the opportunities will be potential falling interest rates, quite likely to happen. Price stability, you can see that across the board, although prices have gone up by quite a bit, but some areas are really coming down. More home launches, so there'll be many, much more market activities this year. New growth areas to look out for. Okay, so to sum up, next, I use this picture. I think this year, 2024, I'll sum it as a year of stability. This is a very good picture, I feel, that it shows, the stones here being very stable, but it really, look at the background. It really depends on the sea, right? If there's a tsunami, economic tsunami coming, right, I think it will also affect your stability. All right? So, next. Thank you. I don't know how long. Thank you so much. Wishing all of you a Happy New Year.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Christine. Every time I hear Christine talks, it usually makes my bladder spoil. Because I got to hold my bladder because there's so much exciting news and we are so exclusive. To hear this even before all the news has been released. So, on my side, okay, my name is Terence Chong. I'm the VP for Residential Projects in Orange T. Okay, my bio is not as long as Christine's. Christine's way too much. I spent my real estate experience basically in the developer's era. The domain, 13 years of it. I'm fortunate enough to actually to work for two of the largest developer that's in the market. So a lot of time, a lot of our colleagues, my associates always tell me, you're a storyteller. Okay, I'm a master plan storyteller. So it's not that. Okay, because over the years, as the so-called job scope that requires, it requires me to actually to do a little bit more feasibility studies of the places that the lands that we are interested to buy, homes that we're interested to find, what are the things that's coming up in the area. So there's a lot of all these factors and all that actually affecting values that we can make if we study it carefully. Okay, so let me try out whether the click is actually okay. No. Okay, of course, disclaimer, this basically means most of our own personal research, okay, and the figures. Okay, so the next please. All right, master plan in brief. Okay, master plan, next slide. So, a lot of us have actually seen this colorful island of ours for the longest time. Okay, a lot of us, try to find out what is it all about. I'm not sure whether how savvy are you. Okay, there's a lot of colors and all that. Okay, let's show what are the so-called the legends and the things that we look out for. Okay, so what I want to actually mention is for the master plan, usually they are divided into 2 portions, main portions. The first portion basically are the concept plans. Okay, what do you mean by concept plans? That means our authorities, our governments thinks really far. What do they want to foresee Singapore in the next 50 to 100 years? Too far off, right? Then they came out with the master plan. Basically, master plan is after a lot of studies that's been done. Okay, feasibility studies, how the so-called execution of the plans, all these are more or less firmed up. Within 10 to 15 years, you will see it appear. This is the reason why, they carved out all this. Next, please. Okay, so the framework. So basically, there are themes, as we move towards more sustainability, green living and all that, our authorities, our agencies has come together. Okay, they have actually come up with a certain few themes as a principle for their frameworks. Okay, so the first one is livable and inclusive communities. Okay, then local hubs, global gateways. Okay, a little bit elaboration on all these parts, the points. Livable and inclusive communities. As we know, our population needs to be rejuvenated. A lot of us doesn't know that if we actually go in depth into SingStats, Singapore Statistics Board, Department of Statistics, there are a lot of numbers for us to actually to understand things, but way too much. But I put it in summary. Every single year, we're actually having more new citizens introduced into the population. Why? Because as we know, we are going older, we are living longer, our medical system is getting much better compared to last time, but our job force, our so-called the workforce is getting lesser. So it happens in Japan, which is quite bad. Those who actually came back from Japan, you know that a lot of places is actually, even in the retail shops, you see a lot of elderlies actually serving food, serving you in retail and all that. But in Singapore, we are acting, but it may take some time. A lot of countries is actually encountering all these challenges. So new population needs to be introduced. This is what Singapore does. Local hubs, global gateways. This is basically the economy side of the transformation, where hubs are being done. Later on, I'll do a little bit elaboration. Rejuvenating familiar places. A lot of mature estate. Okay, it's been long. Needs some plans. There's a lot of plans that's been going on. Rejuvenation of our home, the schemes that's been initiated by our PM Lee previously, ever since 2007 till now. It is ongoing for different townships. Queenstown, Tanglin, all the Toa Payoh area is going through a lot of rejuvenation, including Bukit Batok, Choa Chu Kang area as well, even the Jurong side. All right? Sustainable and resilient city of the future, as we talk about a little bit more on the green, sustainable living, how we get, the authorities get the private sector to come in together with our public plans, where even when we buy land, last time round, we need to actually to do the works, road expansion, more landscape, more greens. Okay, convenient and sustainable mobility. As you can see, we've been digging non-stop. Because as population grows, new township grows. There's more new township to be introduced, especially where we are right now. Okay, infrastructure needs to cater the population growth. All right, next please. Okay, so in summary, basically I summarized the different location of the regional centers. You may have seen this in some of the publications. Okay, in the Northern Gateway, this is basically where the Woodlands earlier on, where Christine actually did a little bit of elaboration. Okay, on the northeastern side, where you see the Woodlands Regional Center, the Punggol Digital Township. Okay, on the eastern side, of course, this is our airport side. There are plans. Okay, a lot of us doesn't know that there are still a lot of plans coming up. Later on, we'll do some elaboration. Central area. Western Gateway. Central, of course, is our traditional financial center. Western Gateway, a lot to talk about. Okay, next slide. Okay, so what do we have in Northern Gateway? Basically, the features, when our authorities does planning, they have agendas in mind, they have their targets to meet. Okay, so what do they intend to do in the different gateways that is introduced? In the northern side, Sungai Kadut area, Punggol Digital District, if you have actually been visiting, or you have visited friends over at the Punggol side, or you travel all the way from Punggol here, I say thank you. Okay, you have seen a lot of transformation over there. The new university coming up, there's a lot of new homes introduced in the area. There's a lot of rejuvenation, the waterway area, the greens, the islands, it's all been rejuvenated. And there are more things to come in that particular area once the MRT extension is done. So central area, this is a traditional financial center. Of course, our authorities has been trying to introduce more homes into the area to make it a little bit more vibrant. Okay, a lot of times people say that the CBD area, once you go there after 5, it's like a dead town. But now you go and try it out, it's getting more and more buzzier as it goes. Okay, more things are being done over there. Eastern Gateway, Okay, as we know that previously there was a university that was introduced in that area, Singapore University of Technology and Design, okay, as well as Changi Business Park. Okay, those are old news. We have something that is coming up subsequently next time round. This is not so soon because I mean there are Bayshaw's plans and all that going towards the eastern side. But if you have traveled there, there are a lot of construction that has actually been going on, preparing for the Changi East Urban District. We have the Jurong Lake District over here, Changi East Urban District next time. Western Gateway, there are a lot of stories, a lot of coverage recent months, even if for the past couple of years. Why? Basically, I mean, there is a lot of talk to actually bring more businesses, more advanced manufacturing firms, companies to set foot here in Singapore. Where will they be concentrated? It will be here. It's going to be held by JTC, okay, under the Jurong Innovation District. Okay, there's a lot of companies that's already been there. It's already there. There are more to be introduced. Why the West? North, South, East, West. Why the West? In fact, the West has been dormant for a long time. But I want to show you this particular slide. This is from the Department of Statistics. Okay, as we can see, all these dark rates, light rates, the darker the rate, the heavier the density of the population is. This is basically based on the 2023 statistics. Okay, the 24 one is not published yet. Look at the west side. Okay, the Jurong West side is quite mature, 260 over 1,000, but you look at the Jurong East side, it's less than 100,000 in average. And what else? The most talked about, going to be the largest town, I mean, it's as good as the size of Bishan, okay, which previously it was almost close to zero because anyone has any idea why is the population that low in that area? First thing is that, I mean, there's a lot of empty grounds, a lot of exhumation. I mean, there was a lot of activities, but underground. You know what I mean. But now it's going to bring to the surface. Why? Because, I mean, there's a lot of spaces, a lot of plans. It's very hard to create a mature estate to bring in new ideas because the infrastructure and the foundation are there. But for Jurong area in the west, Tengah area is basically quite an empty land. There's a lot of innovative ideas which authorities and agencies has been wanting to implement, which it is easier to actually to start from scratch. That is the reason if you're going to go over to that Bukit Batok west area towards the Tengah side, as we know that some BTO has already been given, handing out the keys. Okay, a lot of like what Christine earlier on mentioned, there's some grumbling about not enough facilities, amenities to service it. This is the reason why it is in the start. I mean, these are the things that you need to, that people encounter when it is in the start of the transformation. Okay, later on I will elaborate a little bit more. All right, Jurong Lake District, basically, I'll talk about the regional centers earlier on about business. Earlier on, we talked about all this, the so-called the corridor, the hubs and all that. Previously, as we know that in the Woodlands Central, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. As we know that the RTS is going to be 60%. I mean, in fact, it's already 60% completed. Going to complete soon. Tampines Regional Center and all this downtown core, the Bugis area, the Rochor area, we saw a lot of actions there. Previously, I mean, you see the Bugis MRT station surrounding. We see a lot of transformation, new buildings popping up. Golden Mile, I mean, being transformed, I mean, en bloc, I mean, subsequently you will see a lot of new kind of buildings where it is conserved on the cascaded side also. So, where else? Jurong Lake District. You look at basically just for business-wise, I mean, the estimate plan is basically almost close to 1.4 million planned square meters. It's not square feet, it's square meters. It is almost a big chunk of the side of the western side, because the west transformation, it doesn't end just on the Jurong Lake side. It actually from Clementi all the way down to our Tuas Megaport. Okay? So the themes, okay, the master plan on the western region, the transformation is going to be based on live, work and play in the west. Okay, so what's going to be introduced? You can see a lot of circles, but if I'm going to actually go too deep, I summarize it a little because it's going to take a while. One North area, Biomedical Center, all these are very innovative districts. They're introducing a lot of innovative businesses and plants, businesses to lay foot there. And yet, why can they do this? Is because we have our two biggest universities to support that particular area with the research and development. So when students are able to attach to to all these innovative kind of businesses and all this kind of advanced manufacturing. It actually means it gives a lot of instant infrastructure to actually prepare the area for them. Okay, of course, I mean the teams later on I will do a little bit of a little faster to actually to summarize all these parts. Next please. Okay, earlier on, Christine has showed you this. Okay, usually I like to show this first so that you have a feel. Enlarged one, very green. A lot of transformation. I mean, as you can see that Jurong, this is only on the Jurong Lake side. Where are we right now? We are here. Okay, the show flats location, it's here. You look at this small part, I would say small, because the transformation is not just this on the western side. Okay, it is going to be flanked. As you can see earlier on, I was talking about our institutional, educational institution like NTU to support all these businesses, innovative kind of ideas that's coming up in the area. Jurong West area, okay. Tengah area, of course, the largest is going to be one of the largest towns in this district. Bukit Batok, rejuvenation. Jurong East, as we know that there's a lot of plans, a lot of news that's been going on. So what do they want to actually convert this place to? It will open up exciting new jobs, bringing jobs nearest to home. That's one. Residential, recreational opportunities, and there will be more. Later on, I will show you a little bit more stuff that's in the west. Okay, I'll start with Jurong Lake District. We do a fast one for this portion. Okay, I purposely extracted from Madam Lim, okay, from URA, that's our Chief Executive. She mentioned this, I extracted it out. Take a look at what she mentioned. You won't see pure offices or pure residences here in the Jurong Lake District. You'll find an office with hotel. Okay, remember this, hotel, this word. Later on, I'll tell you why. Shops, residences in one complex. That means there will be a lot of mixed developments in the particular area to bring towards community integration, more green walks, more green lifestyle, people to network, but lively 24/7. There's a lot of things coming up, all right? So usually mean for authorities, agency, whenever they release a certain statements or certain kind of announcement, when we read deep and we compare to what we actually do in the master plan studies and all this, we are able to actually find something of relevance, okay? So Jurong Lake District, I mean, this is basically, what are the three exciting, of course, work is number one. MRT lines is going to be introduced. Jurong Industrial District with advanced manufacturing. In fact, later on, I'll name some of those companies that's there and coming in. Of course, Tuas Megaport. Okay, as we know that, I mean, in the greater southern waterfront story, most of all these shipping businesses will be moved. Okay, one of them is basically into this location. It's going to be one of the largest, so-called the container port, I mean, in the world. Okay, so we look at this particular, I mean, it's supposed to have transitions, okay, but I mean, because we did it in the PDF. Over from 2023, the plan has already started to fulfill. It actually, I mean, the agencies actually have been launched a JLE Innovation Challenge all the way to 24, where we do our Chinese garden right opposite of us, Japanese garden, rejuvenation. And in the Jurong East side, there are news that actually mean to tell us that integrating all the, I mean, the transportation hub, I mean, all the activities into one main kind of center, into a hub area, where it actually consists of the bus interchange, I mean, basically the community club, regional library, and some of the sports facility, and as well in the area, our new science center. We know that old new science center, no more new science center coming up. And more MRT lines. Jurong Regional Line, Cross Island Line. All this is to cater to beyond this. That means from the west to travel from the west to other parts of business hubs in Singapore is going to be a jiffy, all right? Okay, next largest business district, it has been actually mentioned in the papers by our minister before. Okay, it's going to be outside the traditional CBD. This is going to be the next largest business district. The team, Hub for Future Economy, this is basically where our next, all the business needs, all the lifestyle needs is going to be integrated into one new paradigm of mobility. On top of the infrastructure that you see that is being built, there are going to be more above the air kind of corridors for you to walk around in that state. Smart and Sustainable District, as we mentioned earlier on, greens, okay, green technologies. I mean, all this, the kind of innovative kind of building designs is going to be introduced in this area, which is easier because it's from the ground. District of Garden and Waters, later on I'll show you some perspective. After you see this, then you will find that I better get something over here, if not it's too late. Okay, so let's go. Hub for future economy. So, of course, business is going to be the number first emphasis. To bring more businesses here means more jobs. More jobs means we need to actually have homes to actually to cater to within the vicinity to cater to them. So, Hub for future economy. Our two universities earlier on actually talk about cutting edge R&D. We will go towards that direction for the Jurong transformation because there will be a lot of advanced companies that's going to be invited here. I mean, a lot of negotiation is still ongoing. I think we are trying to attract a lot of other advanced businesses to actually to lay their roots here. Okay, flexible use of business park. Next time round, when you enter a business park or a place that is filled with offices, it's not going to be just cold stone cold kind of buildings. There's going to be a lot of a walk-through green kind of environment within the development. Okay, of course, I mean the ESG ambitions. All right, working together with our private sector. Okay, Jurong Lake District, the business model, the business potential. I mean, besides the earlier on, I actually mentioned the companies to lay down their root, create brand new campuses. They're going to bring new businesses and new jobs here into Singapore. Okay, all these businesses has already laid their, all this, the business, usually I call it their commercial cities, business cities. It is already existing there. Vision Exchange, Jurong Town Hall, as you know, it's all here. And many more on the way. Later on, I will show you where they're going to be located. New paradigm of mobility. Earlier on, I actually mentioned, okay, it's not going to be just infrastructure. As we see a lot of green lines, lanes, the Jaywalk network has already been existing. There will be an extension. That means next time round, all the heavy traffic is going to push underground, going to be pushed underground. Surface is more for you to actually to walk, to cycle, to actually to move around, enjoy the greens and all that. So this is basically the direction, okay, and the vision that they want to achieve. All right. What is the purpose of all this? As we know that our schools, NTU, JID, the JID Jurong Innovation District, JLD Jurong Lake District, Teng Nga Town, all these are very big and far areas to reach. Without all this infrastructure, where we have more MRT lines that's coming up, new townships coming up in Teng Nga area, we will need all this infrastructure. That means in the west, for you to travel even towards the Tuas area, right at the end. For you to actually to go over to any parts of all this area listed here, it's going to be hassle-free next time. Even it comes with the so-called covered walkway. This is an image of Jurong East MRT station. If you go over there, there is a lot of hoardings, a lot of construction, as you see. There are a lot of, in fact, the plan is to actually to integrate the services in this area. So what else? It actually, give you the comfort, it gives you all the amenities that is within the area and connect you to Jurong Region line with the integration of this transport hub. All right? So this is something that you see in the central, in the Jurong East side. Would you like to find out more how it looks like, Jurong line, Region line? Colorful informatics. Very cartoon, right? But the cartoon comes with a lot of stations. You look at all the stations. Teng Nga itself has quite a few, the couple of MRT stations that's coming up. Later on, I will show you a little bit more professional chart. Next one. I've extracted these future plans that's coming up. Okay, all this area, some of them previously it was unnamed. Now currently, most of them actually came named. From Jurong East interchange, you're able to actually make access to the east-west as well as the Jurong extension line. Choa Chu Kang area as well. So if you're looking at the Teng Nga area, this basically serves everyone. But the exciting thing is that one line towards the Woodlands area, anyone doesn't know recently the Woodlands area, earlier on I was talking about this 65% construction done, two very famous people shaking hands in the middle of nowhere. Anyone knows that? The RTS, Woodlands North. From Woodlands North, you're able to transfer to the RTS. Next time around, you want to travel to Malaysia, it is actually quite easy. But later on, I'll tell you what other potential and things that may happen. Okay, smart and sustainable. This one we can go a little faster. Okay, basically, as you can see, earlier on I actually mentioned, these are basically the perspective that you may expect next time. The direction is that within towers, even the private sectors, the private buildings, the mixed development will come in with a lot of greens. And the convenient city living within 10 minutes neighborhood. That means every 10 minutes you will be able to find something for your work, live, play. All right, next one. Okay, so sustainable, like earlier on I actually mentioned, I mean, they push basically the heavy traffics, I mean, basically on the ground. As you can see, there are more green kind of carpets on the surface. You will see more of that in Jurong. Okay, sustainable living, we have the lake just in front of us. I mean, the green economy, earlier on I mentioned, between buildings, the passage works. This one is something that I like to show you. It feels like you are in another country. Okay, this perspective has actually been in the publications by the authorities as well as the papers. I like to refer to this particular image. Anyone gone to US or just come back to US or seen US, this part of Central Park on the TV? There is this very big garden, Manhattan, New York side, where all the buildings are prime estates, prime real estates. This is something that they want, I mean, the authority visionized, I mean, they basically vision themselves, I mean, ourselves to be able to connect to the theme parks. Just across the bridge, there will be our Jurong, the Chinese and Japanese gardens, okay, with all the new businesses and new buildings, mixed development. Earlier on, we mentioned hotel, shops, homes coming into one. You will see more of that within the area. So this is something that is very interesting to see. Okay, live, work, play within every single, within the so-called the jurisdiction of about 10 minutes. Earlier on, we mentioned you will be able to find all the facilities and amenities, shopping malls, food, children's playground, your green well-being places for you to actually to hang out. Okay, earlier on I actually mentioned active streets, multi-level pedestrian. I mean, all these, the yellow ones, okay, the legend is a little too small for you to see. All these are basically the connectivity towards different parts within the Jurong Lake districts. That means within buildings, next slide, you will have all this passage network. I mean, if you those who actually gone to Hong Kong before, their buildings are so compact, basically they join to each other, wall to wall. But when you actually when you're walking towards a certain location, point A to point B, for instance like this, Jurong Town Hall to the Science Centre, this is basically the view that you actually get, number one. Secondly, intra-buildings connection. That means when you walk within the buildings, you can reach the other side covered in a way. Earlier on, what I mentioned, when we buy lands, okay, those who have actually, a little bit more savvy into this land purchase processes as well as the specification and conditions. If you, especially our agents, friends, our colleagues, my associates, when you actually look into a land purchase in URA, a GLS land plot, usually in one certain annexes, they will list what are the conditions that you need to comply for development. Road widening, all this extra services, underground passage network. This is going to be a norm next time in the Jurong area, where within the building, interconnectable, that's number one. Second thing, 20% of the site has to be open to the sky. Okay, this is basically the direction and the vision. That means in the middle of the few pillars, you look up, that is basically the mental well-being. It gives us that kind of space. We experienced this in COVID, during our COVID lockdown time, where looking out into the open space or able to just sit in a small little patch of greens, it is a luxury for us. So it is going to be integrated like this for all the future plans within the western area. Okay, of course, earlier on, like what I mentioned, convenient city living within the 10-minute neighborhood. You will see a lot of shop fronts, the frontages and all that. Okay, so the west is not done yet. There are more that actually if you have been to the Bukit Timah, Upper Bukit Timah area, there are a lot of rejuvenation because our railway corridor. Okay, a lot of land has been returned to us. We have a lot of plans going on. We're introducing, the agents, the authorities, they're also introducing in the dairy farm area new homes, new estates to bring in more people to stay in. You see a lot of government land sales in that area. There's a lot of malls coming up in the particular area as well. Okay, all the way, Jurong Lake District, yes. Okay, to the central, to the catchment area and beyond. Okay, so there are a lot of plans that is not done yet, okay, oncoming. Next one, sir. What other potentials can we expect in the Western transformation? Actually, this is something that I like to show you. Earlier on when we hear, I mean, I would say that you see the statement of hotel being mentioned. I think STB, Singapore Tourism Board, has been trying, I think Chinese and Japanese, the garden, previously it was transformed a few times, renovated a few times. I think we are still having a lot of challenge to trying to actually to make this into a proper tourism, a tourist spot for people to actually to visit. But with all these plans that is going up, with all the master development sales site that comes out in the Jurong East area. The next slide, what I will show you, besides all this, you look at all the Industry 4.0. This is basically by JTC. JTC also another largest, in fact, it's actually, I mean, the next biggest land bank owners, okay, within the authority side, based on business spaces. You look at Jurong Innovation District, they're inviting and trying to encourage more advanced manufacturing firms to be here, where Singapore, we are leading the charge to make this place a hub. Recently, you have actually hear fintechs. We are basically, I mean, doing a lot of AI's kind of regulatory things and all that to actually get the framework right, so that to be able to actually mean to so-called encourage more of all these businesses to come here. There are more so-called cutting-edge kind of businesses that we will be looking into. Okay, besides that, as you can see, there are a lot of other companies that has just laid foot recently. Konica, I mean, Makino, I mean, the DMG, Mori, I mean, ISDN. So all these are basically those, it is led by A-Star. If anyone doesn't know A-Star, it's not Superstar, it's not the MediaCorp or whatever kind of thing and all that. A-Star are basically one of our top, the most, I mean, one of those agencies that attract most of the talents to bring in cutting edge to lead industries, okay, with their research and development, to collaborate with all these businesses and all that to come up with new things, including even defenses, our defense technology and all this. These are all the talents where all our geniuses are. And these are all the plans, including our university, all these things that is going to come out over here in the western side. These are ongoing, okay? This is basically one of the potential to look at. Okay, earlier on I actually mentioned the two famous guys doing a handshake, middle of nowhere, middle of somewhere already, no more nowhere. RTS, okay, it's already slated to be, it is basically there, ready to go, waiting for a few more touches and all that. I think within the next couple of years, we will be able to use it to travel to JB. But what I want to actually to bring to your attention is this. Previously, there was this plan of HSR, okay, high-speed rail. The high-speed rail basically brings us from Jurong East in Singapore all the way to the northern side of Malaysia, Bandar Malaysia, Putrajaya. Further up, that will be Thailand already. Previously. Okay, but as we see more and more news, even in fact it is just basically this month that Malaysia side has been encouraging, inviting a lot of tenders, kind of studies, people to put in proposals to bid for their side of the construction. Will this plan be rejuvenated to revive again? I cannot tell you, because I'm not the one shaking the hands just now. So basically, if for what I see, the plans and the focus that has been in the West for the past couple of years, I think there are more things, because Singapore side has spent a lot of money to even basically acquire lands in the Jurong area. The country clubs, all this spend money. Malaysia said, no, sorry, cannot. I don't want to go about it anymore. Then penalty, finish, no more. But now, when Anwar, when the new PM right now, they're coming back to all this, working together with Malaysia, with Singapore kind of direction, to bring in more business. In fact, all these things, it actually gives more advantage and more beneficial over to the Malaysia side than ourselves. But all these things has not happened yet. All right? So economic zone, earlier on, basically just the economic zone area. This is to actually to create more businesses between Johor and us. The Johor Sultan is very friendly to us. So there are a lot of things that we are able to get it done in a way, because whose money are they making? Mostly Singaporeans. Singaporeans cross over, you buy shop groceries and all this every single week, every day. Jam also never mind, no complaint. Only come back then you complain 4 hours wait. But it's okay, what? Cheap. $1 equals to almost 3 point something. So this is something that Malaysia is looking forward to also. The next thing. Okay, this one a few slides only. If I go on, I think most probably you all won't go home already, cannot. Tengah New Town. Earlier on, I think Christine actually showed some of the details over here. I purposely plucked out this master plan to show you the location here in the Bukit Batok West Avenue 5 area. If you are able to travel there, okay, or you are living nearby, can anyone tell me what is opposite side? Just opposite across the road, just one road. That is basically the Tengah estate already. A lot of construction, a lot of dust, nothing up yet, right? So this picture that you see over here will be the future Tengah New Town. Okay? I would like to actually to play a small little video. Okay, it won't take 1 hour, 2 hours. It's just basically less than 3 minutes, 2 minutes 55. Have a look. Oh, by the way, this is not by me, by HDB. The logo come out with it. I'm gonna drink water. I'm gonna drink. 这种，放哪一罐，随便一罐。How? Feel good? Staying in Tengah good. Staying before Tengah comes out is much more better. Okay, so for the next slide, I will do a very fast summary. Earlier on, you have actually seen within the video itself, it already showed you what do you expect across the road from where Lumina Grand is. Okay, so we are basically, I will just do a very fast point out. It's just basically, we are just here. Here, okay? So this is basically the future, where you're going to have, you expect more amenities and all that coming up in the particular area, not just what you see right now. Okay, the future is very bright in this particular estate. It's because there's a lot of emphasis, okay, to go. So of course, schools, later on, I think Jim will be the last speaker. He will just do a very fast introduction on the product itself. As we know, the ACS is coming in. A lot of other schools is being introduced recently. There are news articles that actually mentioned, even for Kranji Primary School, Pioneer as well. Okay, to summarize, growth potential. The Western region will definitely be the main focus for the next phase. It has already been shown, including the land purchase. The land releases more homes, more amenities in the Jurong area as well as the Tengah side, more advanced businesses, lay routes here in the west, all right? More homes, jobs, farms, amenities to provide choices for work, live and play, which basically that is their direction. A new sufficient town of Tengah introduced. Enhanced transportation network, all right? Jurong Lake becoming a tourist estate. You just feel that way. You are just living near, I can't use Marina Bay to do a comparison, but have that kind of direction and the vision. If Chinese and Japanese garden is going to attract that kind of attention, as well as what all these plans earlier on that you have seen visualized. I mean, basically it actually came true. Okay, you will see this whole place full of so-called the traffic, the human traffic, and as well as a lot of activities. Of course, earlier on I mentioned, with many plans under negotiation, the transformation of the West is not done. Okay, with that, I say thank you, Avin, for giving me the past few minutes. I won't say half an hour. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Terence. Thank you very much. I think so far we have heard from Christine Sun about the macro market. We have heard about the regional transformation from Terence. Okay, I'm very excited here to talk more about executive condominiums to go into further detail. Just to have a show of hands, how many of you are here for this segment to learn more about ECs? Yes, I see some of hands. How many of you are here because of Christine Sun? Okay, majority of you. Thank you for staying with me till this segment. I promise I won't take long so that we still have time to go through the documentation for your e-applications for Lumina Grand after this. All right, please. Yeah, so I want to give you an overview of the current EC market. I'll be going into a bit of detail on ECs. You may recognize a lot of properties that I'll be bringing up in this presentation. Slide. Okay, so this is the trend of EC land prices over the last 10 years. You can see 10 years ago, prices were about 341 per square feet per plot ratio. Today, it has more than doubled to 721 in the latest bid for EC plot at Tampines. Lumina Grand here, you can see we are only at $626 per square feet per plot ratio. Next slide, please. At 626 per square feet per plot ratio, we can clearly see we are the only EC launch of this year, right? And there's quite a big price differential between us and the next few land plots. Okay, the other two ECs are probably the other three ECs here are probably going to launch only sometime in later 2025 or even 2026. And very likely their price would be hovering very close to 700 plus or even possibly breaking new highs, 750 or even higher. So if anyone, all of us here, we are at Lumina Grand as the EC, it's probably the last EC that's below $700 per square foot per plot ratio in land price. ECs are always in very high demand. These are some of the recent launches. We can see Koppen Grand, Ternate. So they average on their first launch booking sells about 61 to 73%. Okay? In terms of overall supply in the market, ECs are actually only about 8% of total supply. Every time they launch in the market, they sell very well, like hotcakes. First launch, 60 to 70%, and some even sell out by the time the second timer gets their booking. So why is buying EC a steal? Okay, these are the three important factors that I will go into further detail. The first is the power of HDB sales, second is power of the price gap, and the third is the power of growth appreciation. Okay, so power of HDB sales. Earlier you have seen Christine Sun's slides. She mentioned that the $1 million transactions, our volume has increased and is the highest ever for HDB flats. Next. Okay, what's the highest price? I think earlier you guys also saw from Christine Sun at 1.5 million, but I want to go into a little bit more detail. Okay, this is actually the transaction that was 1.5 million. It was a jumbo, a joint flat in Tiong Bahru, but what I want you guys to notice is the balance lease. 48 years left, right? So today, a brand new EC, 99 years lease, you can get it from a starting price less than 1.5 million, okay? This is what people are willing to pay for the HDBs today, even if it's just about half of its lease left to run. Okay, we have compiled the top 10 transactions. We can see that the top 10 is 1.43 to 1.5 million, which is the highest ever for HDB transactions. For myself, because I'm an agent on the ground, I actually speak to clients who are buying and selling their property. I realized that one key difference in terms of the $1 million transactions is that in the past, we only see $1 million transactions concentrated in the core central regions, your Duxton, your Tiong Bahru, your Boon Tiong, your Henderson, okay? But something very interesting happened over the last couple of years. Next slide. And it's actually the first times that we do see $1 million HDBs in the OCR regions of Singapore. So your Pasir Ris, your Woodlands, and most recently in September, Bukit Panjang, not too far away from Lumina Grand, records its first $1 million sale. This is a sharp contrast to the past where we only see $1 million flats happening in your core central or your RCR regions. Okay, so of course, when these homeowners, they sell the house, where do they go to? They'll enter the private market, of course. So this definitely helps to drive up the prices of ECs and your private resale in the OCR region. So will the price continue to hit new highs? I think as earlier Christine Sun has mentioned, this PLH model that was introduced by the government has in fact increased demand for existing resale flats because the existing resale flats in prime locations, right, they have not been hit by these new restrictions and owners, new buyers can still purchase them and only have a 5-year MOP. Next slide. As we see, these are the new asking prices that we see in the market. Henderson, HDB estate, going up to 1.59 million, and the long-time champion, Pinnacle at Duxton, now even up to 1.75 million. Okay, ECs are actually one of the only segments of public housing, so to speak, subsidized that has not been touched by government. All right, so with the new PLH model, in fact, for investors looking to enter a prime location housing or even a plus, right, while waiting for it to build and to exit, they have to wait 10, 13, 15 years, including the building time. Whereas for ECs now, it's only an 8 years wait. So in fact, for public housing subsidized, we are one of the shortest time frames where homeowners can actually exit their purchase. Second is the power of the price gap. I go into a little bit more detail. This is an article that shows the difference in price between a new OCR new launch and a new EC and a resale condo in OCR versus a new EC. I think it's a little bit clearer as we go to my next slide. I'll show you in a graph. Okay, here we take a look at the graph. In the orange line, new EC sales. Blue line is the condo resale in OCR, and this dark blue is the new condo sales in OCR. We can clearly see this is based on the recent transactions as early as just last week, right? You can see that the difference between the condo resale is 8.5% higher than the average of a new EC sale. At the same time, the private new condo sale is a whopping 53% difference, right? You can see at an entry price where you can get a brand new 99-year leasehold, right? You are still buying cheaper than the older resale and definitely way cheaper than the private condominium. So how does that impact you as a buyer? Okay, this is the slide that Christine mentioned earlier, just to show you some of the examples of the purchase prices. Jayden, as she shared, is up to close to $2,500 in median pricing. And Altura, the only EC launched last year, is $1,478. Right, so how does this impact you as a buyer? If you're a homeowner and you're looking to compare, should I buy an EC or should I buy a new condominium on the market? We can see that as a homeowner, your initial outlay, right, for EC based on 1,549 per square feet is 335,000. Whereas if you get a new launch, right, you have a savings of 174,500. It's quite a difference in your initial outlay. Then, if you come all the way until TOP, at TOP, I think we are all very, some of us, we always prefer that if we are able to save money, who doesn't want an additional $2,252 in their pocket every month? Thank you. Okay, yeah, so that's the difference, okay? Between an EC at TOP, you only pay about $4,600 per month versus a private condo, you have to pay up to $6,900. So this is quite a significant difference, okay, between an EC and a BUC. All right, the next point, because of the difference in the entry price, for an investor we also noticed that over a similar time period, you can see that the ROI, the return for an EC, is very high. It's pretty much double. These two projects are around the same location, just nearby here, Lakeside. Lake Life, the EC over 9 years, 49%, whereas Lakeview is 23%. This is another study. You can see the Topiary, which is the only EC in this list. Because of the lower entry price, right, over the same time period, I appreciate my total ROI is 68%. It beats out all the other condominiums on the list here. Right, so this is the difference that the price difference between an EC and a new condo can give you, both in terms of your financial costs as well as in terms of your returns over the longer run. Third one is the power of growth appreciation. I think we also saw earlier, Christine Sun shared that ECs pretty much you will not lose money. Okay, 36 of 40 EC projects launched over the last 10 years had positive price appreciation, right? And the price trend indicates that most EC projects gain value over time, mainly due to the low acquisition prices compared with private condos. Yes, you can see this chart as well. Even if I compare ECs with other segments, you can see that for ECs, right, we have the highest average gross profit at close to 300,000, right, and 99.9% of ECs made profits. Okay, I'll be going into specific examples. Let's look at some ECs in the north. Park Life, the brownstone. You can see 41% growth from about 800 PSF to launch to 1001. And for Park Life, same thing, you have a 63% gain. ECs are also very unique because they are immune to location. Even if it's not near MRT, right? As you'll see in our next slide, for Signature at Yishun and the Canopy, same thing, they also have strong price appreciation. 41% for the Canopy and 42% for Signature at Yishun. We head towards the east, Tampines Trillion, City Life, Arc at Tampines. Same thing. In fact, Tampines Trillion is the ultimate champion. 82%, $600 PSF all the way up to 1001 PSF. Now we head back to the west where we are located I'll go into a little bit more detail. We have Westwood Residences. You can see, same thing, also far away from the MRT station. 803 PSF at launch, today close to $1,300 per square feet. Next, Lake Life, earlier I mentioned as well, 921, today close to 1004 PSF, it's just down the road, down Ranching Road. Here are some of the more recent MOPs for ECs that are in the west that reached the MOP this year. So this is Soul Acres, okay? I recently also did a deal over there, and my client, he bought about 800,000 and he sold about 1.33. So it's about a 500,000 gain. So you can see on average, many of these owners, they profit up to as high as 851,000 over here for Soul Acres. Next slide. Wonderville, same thing, also another EC that just hit its MOP this year. You can see all these figures are here. You can see exactly 600 over 1,000 to 700 over 1,000 for their profits. Okay, this is a summary of all the condos, all the ECs that I shared with you earlier. You can see the highest PSF, okay, ranges from about 1,350 to the Rainforest, all the way up to even more than 1,005 for Soul Acres. Later, I'll be showing you the indicative prices for Lumina Grand. Okay, and you'll find that for a brand new EC, right, I can enter at a similar price as resale ECs that have been on the market for about 5 to 7 years, right? So why are ECs a smart buy? If you're a first timer, you can get up to 30,000 CPF housing grant. The second point, no additional buyer stamp duty. Okay, a lot of times if we are HDB owner and we want to upgrade to private property, we have to sell first so that we don't have to pay ABSD on our purchase. But ECs are the only category where you don't have to pay ABSD upfront. Sorry, don't have to pay ABSD at all. Number 3, we also have a deferred payment scheme. If, for example, you want to defer your payments, you don't want to take a loan now, or you need your proceeds from the house, your HDB, you can choose to defer payment, okay, all the way until TOP. That's where your majority of your payment will come in. Okay, and if you, again, for those with an existing HDB, we also have a bridging loan where we can increase your loan amount up to the maximum 80% of loan to value. For more details on all this later on, please speak with our Orange Tea consultants. They'll be happy to guide you further. Now I want to bring back to Lumina Grand, because earlier on, most of the things that I said can be said for most ECs. But at Lumina Grand, we have a very, very special X factor. And that is, as Terence has spoken briefly, the school. Okay? I think we all know by now that ACS Primary is going to move here by 2030. Okay? Lumina Grand is located right there. In fact, there's a small zoom-in map of Lumina Grand over there where it shows that we are within 500 meters of ACS Primary. For anyone with kids going to primary school, we know that that's still a reasonable distance for them to just walk across. So because of this school, we believe that in 2030 and beyond, there will definitely be very strong demand for homes within 1 km of ACS Primary. And why is that so? Let's just look at some of the prices of condominiums within 1 km to a popular school. Rosyth, Nanhua, Red Swastika, CHIJ St. Nicholas, Pei Hwa, and Aitong. Okay, all these are schools from the north, east, and western regions of Singapore. Okay, and they are popular schools. We can see clearly that average prices are already close to $1,800 per square feet, up to even $2,300 PSF. And these are OCR regions as well. I'm not even talking about Bukit Timah, where your branded schools, the condos nearby are already exceeding $3,000 per square feet. And today, at Lumina Grand, we are so lucky that ACS decided to relocate here. We have a branded school beside us. Just imagine how much that will drive prices up in future. Okay, this is the facade of Lumina Grand. I'm almost done. I just want to share a little story about one of my clients. So last year I had the privilege to sell a 3-bedroom unit at Caspian. Anyone knows how much it transacted for? Caspian 3-bedder? Okay, it was $2 million. Okay, last year my client bought Caspian at $2 million. In fact, this was the same client that in late 2022, he actually balloted for Copen Grand. Back then, he wanted to get a 3+ study that I think was about 1.5 to 1.6 million. Unfortunately, he was a second timer, so he didn't manage to get it. Okay? Thereafter, his income already exceeded the income cap of 16,000. So he had no choice, but he had to go for a resale condo on the market. Okay, recently I caught up with him again. I told him about, hey, want to take a look at Lumina Grand, so you can compare and understand how things have changed since you wanted to try for Copen Grand the last time. Okay, this is what he said to me. He said to me in Mandarin, "哇 ，Jim， 你看现在 Bukit Panjang 它的政府足已经超过100万了，你看登啊，以后一定也是超过100万的。到时候哪里可能你买这些公寓，公管公寓140万、150万，那些可以买的一定赚到的，可惜我已经没有那个资格去买了。" Alright, for those that don't really Mandarin maybe cannot understand fully, let me translate. So he said that Bukit Panjang has HDB flats crossing the 1 million mark. In future, Tengah will have such HDB flats as well. By then, well, how can we expect ECs, or by the time it's privatized, to be going at 1.4, 1.5 million dollars? Anyone who can purchase, well, they surely make money. So as we see here right now, these are the starting indicative prices that we have for Lumina Grand. Your 3-bedders start from as low as 1.338 million. Your 3 premium, 1.388 million. Okay, so just like I shared my buyer, he didn't manage to get his EC. Okay, for any of us here today, if we are privileged enough to qualify as first timer, that's ideal because your chances are quite high. If you are second timer, still go for it. And if you get your unit, definitely at this kind of pricing, it's almost a guarantee. Because in future, you are the privileged ones who will sell your property to buyers like mine, who didn't qualify, didn't manage to buy, and have to buy off the market for $2 million. You see? So you can see that appreciation potential is there for your 3-bedder, as well as a 4-bedder. You know, my 3-bedder was $2 million, now the 4-bedder is only selling at 1.628. Right? So it's really a steal. Okay, if you guys qualify, right, do speak to any of our Orange Tea consultants who can run through the eligibility with you. All right, it's something that we definitely do not want you guys to miss. Okay, this is the timeline. Today is the 18th, okay, so we only have about 5 more days for the e-application, right? Then thereafter on the 24th and 25th, there will be a release of the price list, okay, where you guys, those who have submitted their e-registration can come back here, look at the price list and drop their ballot ticket into the ballot box. Then on 26th will be the balloting day, and finally on 27th will be the booking day, right? So this is the timeline to take note for the launch of Lumina Grant. Okay, so for further questions on your eligibility, your finances, your planning, if you need to sell your house, please speak to any of our Orange Tea consultants here that will be able to assist you. All right, thank you very much for your time today.